Good morning and welcome to Madrid. It is my great pleasure to wish you a very successful meeting. It's a great pleasure to see you all in this room. It's a great pleasure that Unify decided to organize this regional meeting in Madrid. So, recognizing the leadership and the commitment, the engagement of the banking industry here in Spain, together with the insurance and reinsurance players in our economy, in some cases, with large activity in many other countries in the world, in particular in Latin America, but not only. You may remember the famous speech given 8 years ago by Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of England, saying that we needed to break the tragedy of the horizon. What have we done to meet the challenges identified back then? How far has the financial sector gone since 2015? Echoing the words of the United Nations Secretary General, we can affirm that we have left behind the era of global warming to enter the era of global boiling. The 2023 summer has been the warmest on record globally. This situation is particularly alarming in Europe, which is warming faster than the global average. The consequences are evident, with climate change taking a major environmental and human toll worldwide, with floods and wildfires in Canada or Maui, but also in Europe, such as in Greece or Tenerife, not to mention extreme heat, droughts, unprecedented glacier melting, biodiversity loss, or the increase in weather-related deaths. All of that impacting on human beings, impacting on urban areas, impacting in different economic sectors. This results in a significant economic impact with increasingly visible consequences for the financial sector worldwide. Increasing weather disaster risks are making United States insurance companies no longer accept home and business owners amid growing wildfire or extreme weather concerns. At least 50% of bank activity in emerging markets is directly dependent on nature, according to World Bank data. 75% of bank loans to firms in the euro area are to firms that depend on ecosystem services. Our climate stress tests reveal that credit risk for EU banks may rise by 100% if investment in the green transitions is not accelerated, according to the European Central Bank. The financial sector has a strategic role to play, but it also has a great responsibility, having to manage the impact of climate change on its activity while seizing the one-in-a-lifetime opportunity that the green transition brings. Climate change is what we could say material for the financial sector, both from a financial materiality and an impact perspective. Decisions made on what to finance and where to invest have a tangible impact in the environment. Financial institutions must take responsibility for these decisions and manage the ensuing externalities, positive or negative. So the question is, are we already mainstreaming climate risk into the strategies and day-to-day risk in this sector? Because you need to face the impact of climate change on your activity, exposure of financial institutions to climate and environmental risk, increasing regulations to save the human beings and the economic activity, while seizing the opportunity that building a new era of economic and social prosperity brings to us. Allow me to remind you that how strategic the financial sector is to transform our economy system by playing different roles. Among them, you can ensure access to finance for the enormous investment needed for the green transition, channeling funds to clean activities, encouraging disinvestment from fossil fuel activities, as the public sector alone falls very short to do so. You can also innovate in cooperation venues to address climate and environmental problems with the new financial instruments. For instance, the popularization of catastrophe bonds, a sort of insurance securitization that allows transferring risk from issuers to capital markets. For instance, the Spanish Insurance Compensation Consortium, as an example of public-private cooperation to cover climate risk, which is a reference at the international level. For instance, the issuance of adaptation bonds by banks, thus collaborating to cover the widening adaptation financing gap worldwide, as the funding of climate adaptation projects has lagged mitigation efforts by a considerable margin. And our aim is to go up to 50-50 in the funding of mitigation and adaptation activities. Advancing in the sustainable finance agenda is crucial for this to happen. This requires the support of public policies providing clear long-term signals, facilitating the right decisions. Other major players have understood this. There are different examples all over the world. Europe's finance system must position itself to play its own role and profit from this new wave of investments. In Europe, there is a clear support of this agenda at the European Union level, through the regulatory agenda, with the European Commission's Action Plan on Sustainable Finance advancing on full speed, to facilitate a clear reorientation of capital flows with the recent EU Green Bond Standards or the Green Taxonomy acceptance. Through the financing agenda, Next Generation EU funds, the European Investment Bank to fund allocation for projects associated with Repower to mobilize more than 150 billion in green investments related to the net zero industry. Through the supervisory agenda, integration of climate considerations in ECB's operations, EBA, etc. This action at the European Union level complements the strong commitment of the financial industry, notably under initiatives that you have joined voluntarily, such as UNEP Finance, Principles for Responsible Banking and Insurance, adherence to net zero initiatives, the Task Force on Nature-related Financial Disclosures, or the Network for Greening the Financial System, which recently published its conceptual framework on ecosystem and nature-based financial risk, key to guide action by central banks and supervisors. Conclusions and way forward are clear. We need to accelerate action in the sustainable finance agenda. We need to do it wisely to avoid possible backslash, as in the European Union with other green domains or the United States with the financial sector. Among others, financial institutions should advance to improve their decarbonization strategies and develop detailed and specific transition plans to align their policies with the 1.5 degrees decarbonization path and strengthen them. To assume responsibility for the carbon footprint of their credit and investment portfolios, including by reporting all Scope 3 emissions, supporting and providing advice to small and medium enterprises in their reporting and sustainability efforts. And I'm sure that this is particularly important in an economy as the Spanish one, with such a big share of small and medium companies. Not expediting the green transition will drag down firms' profitability and households' purchasing power, pushing up credit risk for banks. Further delay in the transition means missing Paris Agreement goals and exacerbating costly physical risk. This is why, to a certain extent, we are all in your hands. We are expecting high from you, high commitment, high engagement, and high speed, so to facilitate this transformation. The Secretary General is fully engaged on this commitment, as you are also engaged in the day-to-day work. So, counting on you for these big efforts, I wish you a very successful discussion along the day with good conclusions to share with the different public and private partners. Thank you so much.